Hello, everyone. Welcome to this first episode of Pimp My Resume, guys. I am super excited. I hope you are excited. You just don't know who we have online with us today. She is a phenomenal woman. She is a businesswoman, not only a businesswoman, but she's a mother as well. She is currently a career coach, career specialist, an instructor at the University of Maryland University College. She is doing amazing things, guys, and I am super privileged and honored to have you on the line. Guys, this is Cathy Francois. So Cathy Francois, you have the floor. I'm super excited. Thank you so much for allowing us to share this opportunity with you.
Thank you so much, Virginia. You did such a wonderful introduction. You might want to introduce yourself so the world knows who you are as well. You forgot to introduce yourself.
Sure. I'm sorry?
I'll give the floor back to you.
All right, so guys, once again, my name is Virginia. I am the founder of MinuteHire, and so I decided to take this opportunity to interview Cathy Francois. She is an amazing individual. She is teaching others, educating others regarding finding a great opportunity for yourself, helping others to craft a perfect resume so that they can finally land the perfect opportunity. So Cathy, before I continue further with more questions about, creating the perfect resume, I do just want to kind of get a better idea of who you are and, sharing with the audience of how you became, a career coach. How did you land to this opportunity? What inspired you to finally become a career specialist?
Okay, thank you so much again for having me here on this platform and sharing your platform and your audience with me. I kind of landed in this career almost by accident. When I think about when I did, so my first resume that I did other than myself was my mom's resume. But working on her resume, I probably did that like around 19 years old, but I really fell into career or higher education about 7 years ago. So before I started higher education, I had careers in different areas, sales being one of them. And I transitioned into admissions, which is pretty much selling education. And through the admissions process, one of the things that I really enjoyed was talking about the prospective students, what their goals and their aspirations were, what their career goals, and trying to match them with a program that was a good fit for them. So from starting at admissions, I transitioned into academic advising, and then from academic advising to career services. So it was when I started working in career services, that's when I really realized, okay, this is where I belong. This is the niche, and this is what I enjoy. I enjoy writing. I enjoy writing creatively. So the way that I look at resumes and approach resumes is different from the typical person. So it's really, I enjoy talking to people and getting to know them. So what I do is really get to know the person's career story and making sure that's translated on paper.
Okay, awesome. Wow. So when you say career story, what exactly do you mean by that? Because a lot of people are, I'm assuming for sure, a career story could probably mean, the different experiences that you've had in the past up until now. But how do a lot of people have different experiences. How do they decide which experience is relevant or which experience is the most important, or should they just I don't know, as they would say, verbal vomit of all the type of experiences that they've had on their resume? How do you know, or how do you decide what is best?
The first thing is to really pinpoint where you would like to take your career. So it's almost, you want to take a marketing perspective of who's your audience, what's your target job, who do you want to buy your service. As an individual, as a job seeker, you have a service that you're selling. So really thinking about, okay, what features, what skills do you possess? What do you offer? What's the benefit that you provide that's relevant to that job market that you're seeking or that career that you're seeking. So it's kind of like the way it's almost like dating, you know. So if you are, you know, out there looking for a potential mate, let's say online, and you're looking at their profile the same way you're looking at a job description online, and you see that you have something in common with that person, you might approach them with that information, what you have in common with that person, as opposed to telling them everything about your life story that they may not care about. So
Right.
you want to think from the employer's perspective. You know, if I wanted to be an art teacher, I probably might not want to talk about how I backpacked through Europe or traveled. That doesn't really make sense. But if you could talk about, okay, the different art that you've been able to get exposed to and how you can bring that into the classroom, that's how you make that relevant. So it's really about putting the right spin on your experience and really being focused about it. Like you mentioned, the whole verbal vomit or that lack of focus, that's one of the best ways to turn a recruiter off. Not having focus on your resume. You don't want to be the Jack or the Jacqueline of all trades on your resume. It's not about, oh, I can do everything and anything. Sometimes it might appear that you really don't know what you want, or it may appear that you're desperate. And job seekers are not really looking for that. They're looking for someone that's the right fit. So that's the approach that you want to take.
Oh, wow. Okay. So I can most definitely say, because I have friends who would probably be very shocked to hear that, because a lot of people think that, you know, being the jack of all trades is something that is very marketable. But a lot of people don't know that, especially when you're looking for employment, and if it's a specific position, that it actually has to relate to what you're applying for. So my question to you, Cathy, what would you suggest? Do you think it's important to find the job and then relate the skills to it, or find the skills that you have first and jot down the skills that you have, the likes that you have, and then find a job that relates to it? Which one would you say is the best approach?
That's a great question. It really depends on where you are in your career. I think doing it one way or the other, there isn't really I guess, a right versus wrong. If you're someone, you want a job, if you want to find a job that you're happy with, then you have to start with yourself first. What do you want to do? What makes you happy? Really take an inventory and assess your personality and your skills that you bring to the table, and then think about what jobs are out there that will match that and fit that, and pursue those jobs. So there's different types of career assessments that you can take to help you with that process. So it's not that easy to just come up with something, oh, you know, I like to talk to people, I could be a recruiter. It doesn't come that easy. Sometimes you may need to invest in taking an assessment if you're currently in school, or you graduated, recently graduated, or even a while from a school. Maybe contact that career center, see if you have access, or as an alum, to a career assessment for free. And there's some paid version and some freebie versions you can find online of different assessment. Now, if you're someone in a position where you're thinking, you know what, sometimes you just need to find a job fast, quick, fast, in a hurry, then you might want to take a look at the position that you're interested in, and making sure you rearrange your resume to market that as well. But I think you can take it either. You could take both approaches depending on what's important to you at that time.
Okay, awesome. And you know, I have some friends, and I think I've been in that situation before as well, where I just didn't know what I wanted to do. And I've had friends where they're just like, I don't know. Whenever you ask them a question, they're like, you know, I'm not too sure what I want to do. There's just so many things. And, you know, sometimes people go to school, they go to college, or a community college or university, and they're just still undecided of what they want to study, because at the end of the day, a lot of people are going to school for employment. So something that they want to do long-term wise. So basically you're suggesting for those type of people, they should check out something like an online assessment so that they can find maybe a job that suits them better. Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
Okay, awesome. Well, what would you say, what are some of the things that you've noticed, just because, you know, you're a career coach, I can tell for sure, as busy as you are, you probably get as many resumes, you know, probably every day of, you know, different resumes, different personalities, different strategies. What are some of the things that you notice that are just red flags for a recruiter, red flags for a hiring manager? What would you say are some of those for you?
One of the things that I mentioned before, just an unfocused resume. If your resume is that quote unquote general resume, it's not going to work because there's no general jobs out there. You have to make sure that it's focused for a certain career track. Another potential red flag for on a resume is huge employment gaps. So unexplained employment gaps. So if you've been out of the workforce for a while, maybe you've been a full-time student, make sure that you have your education section on top. That way, that immediately provides an explanation as to why you haven't been recently employed. If you're out of school, you have been unemployed for a minute, you might want to make sure that you include any activities from professional associations that you might be a part of, any volunteer experience, and be ready to talk about that, you know, as well. Be ready to have that conversation with the employer, because there might be many reasons for employment gaps, legitimate reasons, and employers know things happen. Another thing is just an obvious one, many like obvious errors. I know sometimes resumes might slip with a typo here and there, but like obvious typos, I think would be definitely a big red flag, especially if the job that you're applying for requires keen attention to detail. That's just an example that you don't have that. So be sure you have, if you can, get a second eyes on, you know, get a friend, get somebody else to take a look at your resume to point things out to you.
Okay. And so what about someone who doesn't have experience? So let's say, for example, someone who just came out of high school, or someone who just recently graduated from college, and they're just like, oh my goodness, I'm applying to multiple jobs, multiple positions, and they're all saying the same thing: you need experience.
Yeah,
so what do you suggest to that person?
So when you say no experience, like maybe they had a job, but they don't have relevant experience?
Right.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah. So in that case, you want to make sure that you highlight any transferable skills. So maybe that particular job title, what you were doing is not relevant. Maybe it was a different industry, but take a look at the skills that the job requires. Let's say, for example, if you worked as a cashier at Target, right? And you were just maybe working at the customer service desk, managing, you know, dealing with everyday transactions, and you just recently graduated as an accounting major. Think about some of the skills that you would need as an accountant or a associate accountant position. Is there analytical skills? You're dealing with transaction, you're dealing with money. Talk about those things. You know, as a cashier, you have to deal with transactions. Maybe you might have to do reconciliation, making sure your cash isn't short. Same thing with accounting. You might have to do account reconciliation. It's at a different level, but at least you show the employer that, okay, you understand what you come to the table with. Another thing you can also do, especially as a recent grad, is highlight your education. So not just putting your degree on there, but after you list your degree, maybe put a few bullet points as far as with some information on projects that you've completed in the course. that demonstrate your proficiency in certain areas. So maybe you did an Excel worksheet with some advanced formulas related to accounting. Include that on your resume. Include maybe some of your um, learning objectives or the course outcomes that you learn in these different classes. Take a look at your syllabus. Take a look at the catalog. What were some of the outcomes or the learning objectives you were supposed to come away with? List that as a bullet point under your education section, so they have not just putting the courses. Yeah, the courses is one thing, but if you're able to put projects, that's helped. I highly recommend, though, especially if you're coming into a new field that you have no experience in, try to get either volunteer experience or an internship experience to enhance your resume, because having that, the education is just one of many tools that you will need to help you be more marketable in the field.
Okay, so basically what you're saying, Cathy, is just using, basically finding, even if it's as simple as working at Target,
Yeah.
finding the simplest things and finding a way to amplify it where it relates to the position that you're applying for. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, and it's easier said than done. You know, I've been doing this for years, so it's gotten easier for me to kind of pinpoint that. You can use a tool called onetonline.org. It's a great resource tool. The information is that they pull from comes from the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, and they have so many different career information out there, and it has the different skills for that particular career that you need. So you can really dissect that and check off, okay, do I have this skill? Yes. How did I demonstrate this skill in this job, or through this professional organization where I volunteered as the vice president or whatever it may be. So that's the way you want to think about that, because at some point you're going to have to speak about it anyway during the interview. So having, really brainstorming when you're putting your resume together is going to help you as well with the interview process.
Wow. Okay. So I can tell for sure it's because I, even from high school, they did teach you a few things about creating a resume, but they didn't teach you as good as this. Yeah. So I can tell for sure. Right. Yes, I can tell for sure that, creating a resume it's more than just, like I said, verbal vomit and just putting all of the experiences that you've had, but it's more of a strategic type of thing in order for you to get the job that you want, basically, right?
Correct.
Okay, awesome. Wow. So what about for the person, who took all of the steps that you just mentioned, and they have volunteer experience, they have internships, they have all these things mentioned, and they all relate to the position, but they're just not getting that call. Like they're waiting for the call, they're waiting for the phone to ring, they're waiting for that email. So what do you suggest for that person to finally get that call?
Okay, that's an excellent question. I'm glad you asked me that. One of the things that people have to realize that when you're job searching, your resume is just one tool as part of that process. If you're not getting calls, you're applying, you're not hearing anything, you need to make sure, either way from Jump Street, that you incorporate networking into your job search. Really finding people in the field, either people that where you went to school, alumni from your school who may be working at organizations that you're working for. And I recommend conducting informational interviews. So for those who may not be familiar with that concept, an informational interview is when you interview someone for about 15, 20 minutes, and just to learn about either the company that they work for or their job, what they do. And in that process, you may come across, they may give you a referral or refer you to somebody, or you may come across some job leads. So really someone in the industry or in a company that you're interested in working for, just asking them some questions about their career, the organization, so you can get an insight of maybe some skills that you may need to learn, or when are they hiring, when is that job is going to be posted, so you can get on the inside. So conducting informational interviews, networking with people, what I call in your warm market, so people that's in your immediate circle, but sometimes those people may not help. Maybe you're a
Right.
first generation college student and they don't know anybody at these big top companies. So you might have to step outside of that. One great resource to find people to do informational interviews with is LinkedIn. I think LinkedIn is a great resource. If you don't have a profile on LinkedIn, I highly recommend you creating a profile ASAP on LinkedIn, and connecting with people that you know, not just random people. People like not. I know this generation, they connect with anybody. No,
Everyone.
actually connect with people that you at least are acquainted with on some level. Let me tell you why. So if you're doing a search on LinkedIn, let's say you're interested in working for Google. You're going to do a search on LinkedIn. Google is also a search engine, for those of you who don't know. You put in Google, whoever you're connected with, LinkedIn is going to first search through your connection and show you the people that you're connected with that work for Google, or the people that you know that are connected with. So that second degree connection that may work at Google, or if you have your profile set up correctly, people maybe that you used to work with that work at Google now or in the past, or people you went to school with that currently work for Google now or in the past. So that gives you a starting point. So if you don't know someone directly, but you see someone you know in your first degree connection, know somebody that works at Google, you can contact that middle person and say, hey, I'm trying to get a job at Google, or I'm trying to find out more information about Google. Do you mind introducing me to so-and-so so I can have a connection with them? That's how you start the process. So as you talk to people, and go to any type of networking events where industry insiders may be. When you sign up for these professional associations, don't just pay your fee and get the email newsletter and not go to any of their events. Sometimes
Right.
we just join professional organizations just to put it on our resume, but we don't go to their events. We don't meet anybody there.
Right.
So it's about building your resume is one thing, but building that network is just as important. That's one of the key factors on people who are successful in their careers and people who are not, is based on your network.
Wow. So basically, wow, that's awesome.
Yeah,
And
I
I
didn't
can
go too far with that question, but
No, but I think a lot of people need that, and I think a lot of people need to hear that, because a lot of people, they craft a pretty good resume, or maybe they took the extra step and got it revised by someone else, but then they just leave it there and they just submit it, and that's it. And they just think that that's how they're going to get the job. But then there's someone else who's also competing for the same position and decided to take it another step ahead and actually make those networks, like you were saying, get in the inside, which is really true, because when you can find a way to get in the inside, it just makes you a step ahead, because it's actually a referral from someone that got hired by the company.
Exactly.
Wow.
And I'll give you a story. For example, I have a colleague of mine. We've been connected on LinkedIn for a while. He's also another fellow career services professional and resume writer, and we're pretty much we if you look at our careers, we look pretty similar on paper. And he noticed that I started teaching at University of Maryland, University College, as an adjunct instructor, and he's interested in teaching as well. He has some teaching experience on his belt, and he told me, you know what, I applied and I got that auto message, you don't meet the qualification. He was like, I have all this years of experience, I'm certified, I don't understand what's going on. I said, okay, let me talk to, of course, being that I work there, I have direct access to the hiring manager. So I said, send me your resume. I sent it directly to the hiring manager. I said, hey, this is a colleague of mine. And I was able to sell him to her. He has X amount of years, several years of experience in this field and that field, also teaching experience. Here's his resume. And she said, oh, you know what? I think he applied already. Thank you so much for sending that over. So sometimes the computer, the application tracking system, and that's a whole nother thing with the keywords, will say that you're not qualified when you really are, because maybe that resume wasn't optimized. But guess what? At least now he has a better shot of getting an interview, because now I gave his resume directly in the hands of the person who is the decision maker. So that's how he leveraged his network, as opposed to just applying online and just waiting or just accepting that rejection letter.
Wow. Oh my goodness. So did he get hired?
Don't know yet. It's still too early. This is fresh.
Oh man. I'm sure he got it.
That story is developing, so we'll see.
Wow. Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, okay. Well, we are actually approaching that time, but before we wrap everything up, Cathy, I do want to ask you, what is one tip that you would give to wrap this up for someone that is still in the process, still job hunting, still looking for that perfect job? What is one more tip that you would give for someone that's still waiting?
I definitely want to say, give it some time, continue to, as you're applying, continue on focusing on building your network. I would say that would be key. Yes, find those job opportunities, but try to see if you can also find those leads that are not online, that are not on Indeed.com or before they're on Indeed.com, so you can really be in a know. That's what they call the hidden job market. Find out, where those hidden treasures are, and it's going to be through networking with people, but making sure that, when you're doing these informational interviews, it's not on the onset. The ideal is not to necessarily get a job, because if you're all aggressive, oh, do you have any jobs? Come in with desperation, that's not going to work. You want to make sure you're going there to build a network and relationship, and also find opportunities where you can help other people as well, as you're building your network. Don't let it be just about you, because that's never going to work. So if you can help somebody, just like I was able to help my friend to get him, his resume in front of a hiring manager, you want to make sure you find the same opportunity. You want that from somebody. If you can do that for that person or anybody else, you want to kind of have that attitude as well, so that everything comes full circle.
All right, guys. So there you have it. Career specialist Cathy Francois, once again, amazing individual. She just gave you a few of her quick tips that will most definitely take you a step ahead than any other candidate that's also competing for the same position. So like she said, remember, one, make sure your resume is focused. Make sure that there are no curiosity regarding unexplained employment. Make sure you do your research. Make sure you have referrals. Create those connections and return the favor. It's not all about you. It's about the person that's assisting you as well. So before we wrap up, Cathy, how can we reach you? How can those who are listening, the viewers, how can they contact you and follow you?
You can reach me at www.rezumeforward.com. So that's REZ as in zebra, UME forward, the word forward.com. I'm on Instagram at Rezume Forward. I recently got a Snapchat account, so follow me on Snapchat at Forward. Twitter at Rezume Forward. Facebook, Rezume Forward. You can I think if you Google me, Cathy Francois, I'll come up somehow. You'll see me. But right on my website, I do have a contact page. So if you wanted to reach me for a complimentary 15-minute consultation so we could discuss your career needs and how I may be able to help, I'll be more than happy to do that. My contact information is there. If you want to email me directly, you can send me an email at info@Rezume, REZUME FORWARD.com, rezumeforward.com.
Awesome. All right. Well, there you guys have it. Cathy is everywhere around the world. So for sure, if you have any further questions, for sure, follow her on her social media networks. If you have any questions, reach out to her. She's an amazing person. She will most definitely be willing to help you. And so that's it for today, guys. Make sure to stay in the loop of everything. We will have another episode coming up next week. So just keep in touch and enjoy the rest of your day, guys. Bye.
All right. Bye.